Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and today we'll be focusing on the recent visits made by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, to Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and most recently today to Italy. Of course, the Grand Imam is making the rounds through Asia and Europe to be spreading the moderate image of Islam. Today, I'm honored to be having with me in the studio to be speaking more about this topic Ambassador Farghali Taha, the Egyptian former ambassador to Uzbekistan. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
And Dr. Sa'id Kishk, the researcher at Al-Azhar University. Thank you very much, Doctor, for being with us today.
Thank you for giving me such opportunity, of course. It's my pleasure.
Yes, before heading to the main topic for today, we'll be having a quick report regarding the visits made by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. So let's see it.
Promoting the principles of tolerance, enlightenment values of Islam, Grand Imam of Al-Azhar Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib concluded a week-long tour in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. In Uzbekistan, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib met Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, where he signed memoranda of exchange of religious figures, scholars, qualified teachers, and talented students with Al-Azhar University. Sheikh Al-Tayyib expressed full support for the policy pursued in Uzbekistan of studying and promoting the true essence of Islam, a broad study of religious as well as initiatives forwarded by the President of Uzbekistan at the UN. Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib noted that awarding him the title of the first honorary professor of the International Islamic Academy of Uzbekistan is a great honor and responsibility for him. The Grand Imam supported the proposals on creation of a department of Al-Azhar University at the International Islamic Academy of Uzbekistan, attracting famous Egyptian scholars for teaching, organizing preferential education for students and young scholars of the country in Al-Azhar. Tayyib also expressed the commitment of Egypt to the consistent development and bringing relations with Uzbekistan to a new level, not only in education and humanitarian spheres, but also in all other areas. In Kazakhstan, the Grand Imam told Congress of Leaders of World and Religions that terrorism results from international unjust policies that lost all compassion towards the weak and poor. Tayyib added that terrorism cannot be a result of Islam or any other religion. He explained that the strategies, techniques, and plans of the well-trained extremists and armed groups indicate that this kind of transcontinental hatred cannot be just a result of religion. Meanwhile, the Kazakh Supreme Mufti welcomed the visit of Tayyib, voicing appreciation to the role played by Al-Azhar to disseminate the upright teachings of Islam.
الأسود حين تذود عن الحدود، فمن يكونون وإلى أي جيش ينتمون؟ إلى جيش مصر، فمن هو جيش مصر؟ هو أقدم الجيوش وأعرقها، وأسطورة المعارك في كل العصور والأزمان.
الجيش المصري ده أسطورة وطنية زي ما بقول كده، أسطورة وطنية.
فمصر العريقة تستحق أن يبذل من أجلها الغالي والنفيس. فتحيا مصر، تحيا مصر، تحيا مصر.
يمكن أبدا كان حد هيديكوا الأرض إلا بعد ما ده ثمن الحرب الحقيقية. أحد أهم الأسباب اللي دفعت إسرائيل إنها توافق على السلام. أسر الضحايا سواء كانوا سقطوا قتلى أو مصابين كانوا بالآلافات، وإذا كان الجيش المصري قدر يعملها مرة فهو هيبقى قادر يعملها كل مرة.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate. Mr. Ambassador, as we speak about the visits made by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, to 3 different countries in the past week or two, but in the month of October, we celebrate the 6th of October war victory against Israel in 1973, and of course, more specifically, on the 14th of October, we mark the Air Forces Day. How do you see the importance of the armed forces in the history of Egypt, and more specifically, the Air Forces in this specific battle, in this specific war against Israel in 1973, and of course, more recently in Sinai, in the Sinai Comprehensive Operation 2018?
Actually, let me congratulate our Egyptian people and our armed forces and our Air Force in the occasion of this great day of pride and victory and success, which we have made in October 1973. That was a real great success and glory and achievement in our history. We restored our dignity, we restored our land. And this is a story, a big story of success should be told or should be learned to or given to our generations, to those who haven't lived this era of war and post-war sufferings of the Egyptian people at that time. Our armed forces have been through history the real wall and the of defense
Yes.
against the invasion of the different forces from different kinds across the history.
Yes.
We have been through about 4 or 5 wars against Israel, and the last war in 1973. That was the real victory of our armed forces, where we had been before suffering from a big defeat, where in a war where our army didn't have the chance to fight. It was taken by surprise, by deception, by whatever we call it. But our armed forces during 1973 have shown sacrifices, have shown a lot of great operations against our enemy at that time, and it was a real success. I have been myself to the army immediately after the war and before we signed the peace treaty with Israel, and even before the disengagement between the forces, our forces and the Israeli forces.
Yes.
I have seen how difficult the war was. I have heard from the heroes and the officers and soldiers who have been through this war, how that was a great work done by our army with very limited capabilities and resources comparing the others of our enemy at that time. So let's greet and felicitate and give our respect to our army and to our Egyptian Air Force specifically, who have given the big strike to the forces of the enemy and have made the way through to other land forces to get our land back.
Yes, throughout the month of October, we will be celebrating the 45th anniversary of the 1973 war against Israel. On the 6th of October, we mark that anniversary, and on the 14th of October, we mark the Air Forces Day. The importance from the point of view of religion in general and Al-Azhar in specific, the importance of fighting for the land, martyrdom for the sake of the country. How do you see the war in general since 1973 and up till now, from the point of view of Al-Azhar and religion?
Thank you for that very good questions, actually. And praise be to Allah, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. And may Allah peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad and his family and all previous prophets. وقولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل من قبل وما قولوا آمنا بالله وما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط وما أوتي موسى وعيسى وما أوتي النبيون من ربهم لا نفرق بين أحد منهم ونحن له مسلمون. Upon all previous prophets, Abraham and Jesus and Moses, may Allah peace and the blessings upon him, and upon all our audiences, Salamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That is a very good question, I mean, actually, for fighting for land, according to Islam. And before, particularly in Egypt, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, gave us a tiding, as said that ستفتحون مصر. Or in other narration, he says that فاتخذوا منها جندا فإنهم في رباط إلى يوم القيامة. So, soldiers, or Egyptian soldiers, according to the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, or he's a stronger, and throughout history, actually, Egyptian soldiers give a strong evidence that he's the best. According to Islamic teaching, of course, fighting for the land, we are fighting. We have إحدى الحسنيين, as we say, that either that you have to be the victory and to get your land back, or are you going to get the murder and they're going to be the paradise? And both of them, according to Islam, we consider them as a victory. So fighting, whether for getting independence or getting our land back, according to Islam, is a direct order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to them. And in link with what's happening with Al-Azhar, and I believe that Al-Azhar is to safeguard the unity of the Egyptian Ummah. That, of course, with that occasions particularly that our Grand Imam tried to let all the whole world know that what is a coexistence according to Islam. Coexistence in Egypt, or Egypt's a very good example for coexistence. In Egyptian army, we are Christian and Muslims, and we are fighting together in order to save our land. And that is what happened in a long time ago. The first constitutional in the whole world, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, brought us and wrote it down between when he migrated from Mecca to Medina. He wrote down the first constitutional that was between the Muslims and the Jews. And one of that principle, that is, both of them have a common responsibility, and they're sharing the same responsibility, which is killing and fighting and protecting our borders. This is was together with our Muslims. So the message, that is a very good message for the whole world that Al-Azhar wanted to deliver, that Egypt's community is going to be forever the one, regardless whether they are trying to divide between us, or they're trying to betray between us, or whatever. Al-Azhar is going to support every and each initiatives all over the world, whether in local levels or international levels, in order to let all people know that not only to save the Egyptian society, it's all to save the international community. So what's happening from traveling of the Grand Imam, if you listen for his speech with the president of Kazakhstan.
Before speaking about the visits made by Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, the messages that Dr. Saeed spoke about of Al-Azhar and the Grand Imam upon his visits, upon his meetings with the presidents and the high-ranking officials in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. What are the significances of these visits?
Well, there are a lot of messages, but the main one is that you are countries of majority of Muslims over there since tens or hundreds of years. You had a lot of scholars and scientists in different fields, not only religion, but chemistry, mathematics, geography, astronomy, astrology, whatever. So the main message is that we are coming back to you, trying to boost our cultural and religious communication with you. We are coming to you to remind your people and younger generations of how Islam is moderate and peaceful and is spreading peace, not hostility or terrorism. The great Imam, who is the highest figure in our Muslim world, when he visits those countries, it's really it's a big pride for us in Egypt and in the Muslim world that we are again trying to intercommunicate with each other. We are trying to fight the fanatical thoughts and ideologies which are spread nowadays among some factions or groups. So he's enjoying a lot of respect among all Muslim countries, especially countries in Central Asia, where I have lived and worked for some years, and I have seen how those people are, how they are kind, how they are very much spiritually affiliated to us with great respect, love, and serenity.
Yes, what about the significance, Dr. Saeed, of the trips made by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar to Kazakhstan first and then to Uzbekistan in Asia?
Great. Actually, that Congress of the leaders of the world and the traditional religion is not for the first time. Actually, it has been launched for the first one. It was in 2003. And then the main reason behind that one was confronting the terrorism and fanaticism. And it happened after 3 years again, which is for the second one. It was in 2006. And that one was the main goal behind it. It's religion, society, and international security. The third one, actually, it happens in 2009, and the main reason behind it, which is, of course, at the same time, peace and living coherence together. The fifth and the sixth, the main reasons behind all of the significance of such Congress of traditionals of leaders and the Congress of leaders of the world and traditional religions, as said by Kazakhstani president, he said that is to facilitate the highway for progress, not to return, come back, because he believed that the humanity pays a high price. He believed that what is the disorder and disputes and what we're living nowadays in the world is we have to put an end for sectarianism, have to put an end for fanaticism and extremism. He believed that the humanity who are paying the price. So the significance of such Congress, of course, you just need to let all people know that if you just come back, the fall of any civilizations behind more than one reason, actually. The one which is the lack of awareness behind the young people, according to our ambassadors, is that, and being attracted by such group who are, they are calling them or extremist group or fanaticism group or radicalism, which is totally away from Islam, but they actually claim, and they do that under the name of Islam. They claim they are Muslims, actually, and they're trying to attract a great number of the young people. So such one is really a reason behind the fall of all of civilization, along with deviating from the path of Allah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. This is our way. So فَاتَّبِعُونِ, so follow us and do not follow others. One of other reasons for the fall of civilization is because all of that is the main core behind the traveling of the Grand Imam to let all people know what is a modern Islam, that Islam totally away from radicalism, extremism, and sectarianism. Islam is peace. Another reason behind the fall of civilizations, actually, people who are following such extremist group, and such group, they are trying to attract the young people, and who their second imagination, they believe that Allah is the only Allah representative, and anyone else doesn't know about Islam. What's more dangerous in that group that they try to attract the group, the young people? They believe if you do not share their ideology, you are not one of us. They can even disbelieve you. Maybe they believe that you should be killed.
Yes. So speaking about the people,
the moderate Islam.
Yes,
Islam
and
away from radicalism.
as well of the people of Uzbekistan, Mr. Ambassador, as you have lived there for a number of years, and of course Kazakhstan, as it belongs to the same region. Do you think that the people of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and the governments of these countries are ready to be cooperating with Al-Azhar, to be having departments for Al-Azhar there, to be spreading the moderate teachings of Islam?
Well, as I said, the people and governments and responsibles, they are very much proud of being Muslims of all. They have been deprived of practicing their religion for a number of years under the Soviet Union, and even after independence from the Soviet Union, there has been some kind of security paranoia and fear of spreading Islamic thoughts and ideology, not because of Islam, but because of the fanatic groups which were very little at that time in the 90s.
Yes.
It was nearly confined on something called Hizb ut-Tahrir that was established initially in Jordan and Palestine and Al-Sham, and then spread it away to Central Asia and Afghanistan, where there has been some political and even violent behaviors and destructive ones in some Central Asian countries like Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, and even Uzbekistan itself. That era has ended. The countries like Kazakhstan has very early realized that opening up to the Muslim world and the whole world, not only in the cultural and scientific fields, but also in tourism, investment, and economy and trade with the whole world. So now there is an opening up in those countries, including Uzbekistan, where I was for 4 years from 2001 to 2005. At that time, things were improving, but even at that time, sometimes security forces were afraid of some ideological thoughts and some fanatic thoughts among some other sectors in the country and coming from outside. Now President Shaukat Mirziyoyev is opening up very much on the whole world, including Islamic world. My message to be conveyed to Al-Azhar and its great scientists and its grand imam, that our approach to those countries shouldn't be in a way that they can fear of the spread of ideological thoughts and fanatic ones. It should be in a way that we can hold some annual conferences in each one of those countries. We can send our envoys once a year or twice a year, but not in a way that they can fear or they can feel that we are preaching some specific ideas like Wahhabism and Salafism and something like this. That's what they fear. If we want to talk frankly and they want us to go there and to teach them their religion, because they have missed a lot during the Soviet era, and even some 10 to 15 years later. Now they are very eager and keen to again communicate and have their scientists back.
Yes.
In Uzbekistan itself, there were about 6 or 7 scientists, great scientists in religion, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, medicine, Al-Bayruni, Al-Khwarizmi.
Yes, and they spoke specifically about Al-Bayruni.
Some examples.
Yes.
I have visited this institute of Al-Bayruni where I made some studies during my study to present my doctor's degree over there in one of their universities. This is a great institute of manuscripts of very, very old and
thousands of years.
Yes, it's very precious manuscripts over there. It's most of them or all of them are written in Arabic, including Mus'haf Osman. There,
Yep, exactly.
where there are spots of Osman's blood on that book.
While he was killed,
Yes,
of
yes.
course.
So we should exploit this chance and go back to our brothers and sisters in those countries where we can together spread moderate ideas and moderate and real Islam.
Yes, so the missions of Al-Azhar, or the mission of Al-Azhar, as Mr. Ambassador said, that things should be taken slowly and carefully, and through coordination and cooperation between Al-Azhar and the governments of these Asian countries. How do you think this can be done?
Yes, we can sum it up as according to the Quran says that ادعوا إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. So according to our ambassador, we say that exactly. Islam calls us not only to invite people, but to invite people in a logic way and with wisdom. Even the Quran says ولا تجادلوا أهل الكتاب إلا بالتي أحسن. So so that is about Ahlul Kitab, that is about the people of the book. What about people who just accepted Islam? So preaching to people to invite Islam or not, they're going to be through exactly a logical or wisdom way. Throughout the history, a lot of people accepted Islam and entered Islam exactly just because of the ethics and the manners of the Prophet Muhammad. That's because when they know about Islam, that Islam is, according as our ambassador said, that the moderate message, the real accurate moderate message, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that يا بني آدم خذوا زينتكم عند كل مسجد وكلوا واشربوا ولا تسرفوا. This what is Islam is a moderate in everything, which is it's allowed for you to not to be extravagant, of course, and at the same time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that ولا تنسى نصيبك من الدنيا. So the moderate message of Islam in everything even must be delivered. Al-Azhar, our ambassador said that must do a lot of conferences, of course, but Al-Azhar he worked daily and nights, and our Grand Imam did a lot of conferences last year. The Peace Conference, which is a lot of people from all over the world, has been hosted by Al-Azhar here, and about 3 months ago, exactly. And at the same time, there was one for Jerusalem. Just he invited all people from. But our ambassador said that we must make a conference there in order to invite people. According to the institution, I think the Grand Imam has signed a memorandum of understanding between an Islamic center there and trying to give a mutual studying between, and actually he promised Kazakhstani people that he can be duplicate the scholarship for the students there in order to come here to study in Al-Azhar, to come back to be ambassador and to be representative of Al-Azhar itself. So they're trying to do, working daily and nights. And nowadays, he recently has been arrived to Italy, and tomorrow is going to be another conference which is about the religion and the culture.
Having a speech as well.
Yep, yes. And he has a speech to let people know that Islam has been built upon the mutual respect, upon accepting others, upon the culture of Islam, away totally from extremism, that we are totally away from such a group. Even they are claims themselves that they are Muslims, we are totally away from them. What Islam said, or to try to refute such a misconception that has been raged a long time ago. So the Grand Imam really tried to do everything is possible on the local level as well as international level in order to deliver the moderate message of Islam, or to refute the misconception, or to correct the image of Islam that has been devamed for a long time ago.
Yes, speaking of the memorandums of understanding signed between the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and the governments or the high-ranking officials in Uzbekistan specifically, and of course Kazakhstan. In Uzbekistan, the president suggested that a department of Al-Azhar University should be inaugurated in Uzbekistan. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, they have their what's called the Islamic University under this name specifically, and they are giving very much importance to that university. We have signed before the visit of His Excellency, His Highness the Grand Imam. Some years ago, a lot of memorandums of understanding also. And there were some students studying in Al-Azhar from Uzbekistan and from Kazakhstan, from those countries. Things were going well, and they were benefiting from that. As I said before, until 1 year, there happened that there were some political movements inside Uzbekistan. It was merely political, not religious ones. And the security over there, they have some perception that that those students in Cairo studying in Al-Azhar should be withdrawn and come back. And that happened, unfortunately. So let's have a good begin from now on. And what I mean by conferences, it's a good job done by Al-Azhar and by the Grand Imam. But I mean that we should have a lot of, or at least 20 to 50 Al-Azhar professors who are
qualified,
taught very well in religion or in languages, not only English and French language, but the main four languages of the world: Russian, Spanish, German, English, and French. So the mission shouldn't be only on the shoulder of the Grand Imam himself, but he should have a lot of professors and aides who should be envoyed over there and hold conferences and meetings with universities and scholars and intellectuals and students of those countries.
Yes, in Kazakhstan, the Grand Imam spoke about the concept of interfaith dialogue. How do you see the importance of this?
Interfaith dialogue, actually, since the Imam came into power, the Grand Imam, His Eminence Dr. Ahmad al-Taib, came into power, actually, and he brought into consideration more than one point as a priority. One of them was interfaith dialogue and renewing religious discourse. He believed that coexistence and interfaith dialogue supported is going to make the whole world live in peace and harmony. He believed that traditional religions or divine religions or the leaders and the people who are should set a good examples for, you know, that such conferences has been attended by religious thinkers and politicians and people who are setting a good example for everyone. So interfaith dialogue is really very important in Islam, and together with renewing religious discourse, to just get rid of, try to get out of what we are suffering nowadays, what our enemy tried to make a dispute between, or a conflict, or particularly sectarian disputes. Or so he just believed that such interfaith dialogue can put an end to sectarianism, just to make, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ يَا أَهْلُ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ أَلَّا نَعْبُدَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَلَا نُشْرِكَ بِهِ شَيْئًا. So it's a direct order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that to invite the people of the book to come in a common ground between them, between us and them. And we just see what is in the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad and what is some commandments of them. You're going to find that one of the commandments is that you cannot believe or until you love your neighbors as according to you love yourself. That is what is in their commandments. This is what is the Prophet Muhammad says exactly. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحبه لنفسه. So there is a common ground. There is a common point that we can come together with. We are Muslims or Jews, or as long as we are in a divine religions, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء. All religions, Islam, Judaism, or Christianity, has been prohibited what's going on around. I mean, what's happening of killing innocent people, whether in the churches or in mosques, according to their teaching or our teaching, this is not, he's not even a human being. I mean, we cannot say that according to any divine religion is prohibited. It's totally prohibited. According to our Islam, it makes so clear that من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. So the Quran makes so clear that killing an innocent person unjustly, as if he killing everyone. And if you save a human being, a life of a human being, as if you have been saved the life of all people. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that Al-Adamiyu. So he talks about Al-Adamiyu, regardless of his religion, whether he's a Muslim or a Jew, Bunyanu Rab. So the human being, the Prophet Muhammad cursed whoever kill a man, whether they're Muslims or not. In other narrations, the Prophet Muhammad says that Man adha zimmiyun. So you just talk about the people of the book, whoever harm one of them or take something from without permission, فَأَنَا حَجِيجُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. So imagine that how the Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, is going to support. Imagine how the Holy Quran has been revealed, a verse upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, says that إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ لِتَحْكُمَ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. If you just come back to the cause of revelation of such a verse, it was behind Ta'ma or Ta'ma who steal. Yes. Has been still a shelter, and then bought it was a Jew. And when the owner of the shelter or the sword complained to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be with him, Ta'ma denied that Ta'ma was from Ansar, who was a Muslim. Yes. So he denied that. And
this is about the essence of terrorism. We should be combating terrorism in general.
Exactly, tolerance.
Yes, the tolerance of Islam.
The moderate, and away from radicalism.
Yes, and combating terrorism and extremism. During the visits of the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, he had a very important statement saying that terrorism is a result of the unjust policies and, of course, that lost all compassion to the poor and the weak. How do you see the statement?
Well, it was a great statement, really. It was confronting the allegations that are saying that the teachings of Islam are the reason for terrorism. There are some people who are convinced of that. They are not even saying that Muslims or some Muslims are the reason for terrorism or are terrorists or are having some bad ideologies or fanatic ones. So the Grand Imam is trying to explain and confront those misperceptions about Islam. Talking about injustice in the world, the whole world, about poverty, about occupation, about refugees. These are about lack of health care and medicines around the world, in Africa, in Asia, in the Arab world, yes, whatever. These are the main reasons of fanaticism and terrorism. So it was good. It was good that we are trying to transmit our message to the whole world, including Muslims in Central Asia and elsewhere. But it will be also good, and if we keep this pace of communication with the whole world, and the Al-Azhar University and the Grand Imam should appoint, as I said, yes, some aides and professors to tour the whole world at once or twice or 3 times a year, choosing this country and this country and this country, and to talk and clarify and spread the right understanding of moderate and correct Islam.
Yes, Mr. Ambassador Farghali Taha, the Egyptian former Deputy Ambassador to Uzbekistan. Thank you very much for being with us today on the Daily Debate.
Thank you.
And Dr. Sa'id Kishk, the researcher at Al-Azhar. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for joining us.
And of course, we have to say that following the visits of the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Dr. Ahmad Al-Tayyib, to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, he is currently now in Italy to be giving a speech, as Dr. Sa'id said earlier in the program. And before we leave you, we'll be leaving you with the latest activities of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the past week. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a meeting on Monday with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and Minister of Public Business Sector Hisham Tawfiq. President Samradi said that President al-Sisi gave his directives to implement a development plan for companies affiliated to the public business sector, aiming at reforming the sector and achieving an economic comprehensive development. The President stressed the importance of getting benefit of other countries' expertise in this field to reach the plan's goals. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, Minister of Electricity and Deputy Minister of Finance for Financial Policies. During the meeting, al-Sisi gave directives for the development of the national electricity network and the completion of new electricity projects. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with General Director of the International Renewable Energy Agency, IREA, Adnan Amin, on Tuesday, during which they discussed the latest developments in this vital sector as well as means of pushing forward mutual cooperation. Presidential spokesman Bassam Radi said President al-Sisi hailed the role played by the agency in spreading the renewable energy culture on the international level. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participated in the 6th round of the tripartite summit with the Cypriot counterpart and the Greek Prime Minister in the Greek island of Crete on Wednesday within the framework of the cooperation mechanism which was launched at Cairo Summit in November 2014. The summit aims at evaluating what has been achieved after the past 5 rounds in various domains and following up on the current projects which are being carried in the framework of the mechanism. At a joint press conference following the summit, President al-Sisi said the talks have tackled means of fostering ties among the 3 countries and enhancing economic relations which have been developed positively during the last few years with the aim of facing regional challenges. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi attended a cultural seminar held by the Armed Forces in Al-Manara. The 29th Cultural Seminar of the Armed Forces, dubbed October Communication Among Generations. The seminar includes a documentary on October War heroes and scenes from the war. Addressing the gathering, President al-Sisi talked about the October War and how Israel was forced to accept peace after suffering heavy losses. The President reiterated that Egyptians should preserve the nation's safety by understanding and patience. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said in an exclusive interview published late Friday that there is no role for the Muslim Brotherhood as long as he stays in power, asserting that the Egyptian people would not accept the return of the Brotherhood to power because their unviable ideology. During the interview with al-Kuwaiti newspaper Al-Shahid, President al-Sisi spoke on issues of Arab national security, the influx of terrorists in Syria, Egypt's relationship with Kuwait, and several domestic issues. He talked on the importance of cooperation by the Arab states to protect the Arab national security from dangers faced by the Arab nations, adding that such a relationship would create a state of deterrence to those who aim to assault the Arab world.